Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Coming up in the next hour. India's global outreach on Operation Sindoor continues. All-party delegations engage with key figures in multiple nations, highlighting India's continued fight against terrorism. Home Minister Amit Shah visiting Jammu and Kashmir for the first time since Operation Sindoor to meet BSF personnel. Day after being struck down, US appeals court allows Trump tariffs to temporarily stay in place for now. Ukrainian President Zelensky accuses Russia for engaging in yet another deception by failing to hand over its peace settlement proposal ahead of direct talks next week, while US proposes Moscow to take the deal. Canadian wildfire emergency spreads to second province. State of emergency declared. Mass evacuation underway. So India's diplomatic outreach following Operation Sindoor continues, with Indian MPs across party lines underlining India's commitment to countering terrorism and deepening cooperation. During a visit to South Africa, the Group 7 delegation led by NCP, SCP MP Supriya Sule held a press conference highlighting the common resolve against terrorism. BJP MP Anurag Thakur emphasized the global support India has received in light of repeated terror attacks.
We all have very packed schedules and traveling from one place to another, conveying the message of 1.4 billion Indians that we stand together as we are the victim of cross-border terrorism. And the message is very loud and clear. Whatever we have seen from the reports, that anywhere the other delegations have gone on the issue of terrorism, majority of the people have come in favor because it is not a threat only to India, but a threat to the world.
And the members of the delegation comprise of MP Supriya Sule, Rajiv Pratap Rudi, Vikramjit Singh Sahni, Manish Tiwari, Anurag Singh Thakur, Lavusri Krishna Devaryalu, Anand Sharma, former Minister of Commerce and Industry, V. Muralidharan, former Minister of State for External Affairs, and Syed Akrabuddin, former permanent representative of India to the UN. And before wrapping its official visit to South Africa, the Indian delegation led by Supriya Sule engaged with top leaders and voices across the country, reinforcing a united stand against terrorism. DD India correspondent Nazneen Ismail reports.
After successful meetings in Cape Town, the Indian all-party delegation is set to conclude their visit in South Africa with official meetings in Johannesburg and Pretoria. This visit is marked with powerful symbolism, and as part of the Operation Sindoor international outreach, they have met members of the African National Congress, think tanks and key stakeholders.
Well, it's been an amazingly productive trip in South Africa. We've had the most wonderful meetings. Yesterday in Cape Town and today in Johannesburg. We've met political parties, we've met people from the government, and they've totally reassured us that this land of the Mahatma Gandhi and Nelson Mandela, this is the legacy that India and South Africa have had. And these two countries are committed to non-violence and peace in the world, and together we want a peaceful world. These are legacies that the Honorable Mahatma Gandhi and Nelson Mandela ji left for all of us. So I think we need to take those values for what they fought for. They gave millions, gave lives for you and me to have freedom. I think we must respect it, value it, and make sure that there is zero tolerance against any terrorism anywhere in the world. And I appreciate the support of South Africa. I'm very, very grateful.
In a moving tribute, the delegation laid flowers at the Mahatma Gandhi bust at Constitution Hill, honoring Gandhi's deep ties to South Africa and the enduring legacy of non-violence. India and South Africa, bound by a long history of shared values, reaffirmed their joint commitment to combating terrorism in all its forms and to working together for a safer, more secure world.
In this particular instance, we subscribe to a rules-based system as the African National Congress, and we wish everything could come to a point of conclusion. But in this particular instance, we have pledged our solidarity with the Indian people and hope that everything will come to a point of reaching a peaceful resolution at the end of the day.
As Operation Sindoor continues to take India's message to the world, this visit reinforces the strength of global unity against terrorism and the strength of the India-South Africa relationship. For DD India, Johannesburg, South Africa, I'm Nazneen, bringing you the pulse on global progress.
And marking the start of a meaningful engagement to convey India's resolute stance against terrorism in Colombia, Group 5 all-party parliamentary delegation led by Congress MP Shashi Tharoor interacted with media highlighting country's zero-tolerance policy against terrorism.
India suffered a grievous terrorist attack on the 22nd of April when 26 holidaymakers, tourists in our northern territory of Jammu and Kashmir were gunned down in cold blood by terrorists from across the border in Pakistan. When this happened, of course, the world rose up to condemn the terrorist attack, but that was as far as it went. There was no action taken, not even by the country where these people had emerged from, namely Pakistan. Nobody was arrested. There was no attempt at any prosecution. India decided that this kind of outrage could not go unpunished.
And Group 6 of the all-party delegation led by DMK MP Kanimori arrived in Riga, Latvia. Namrata Kumar, Ambassador of India to Latvia, received the delegation. Namrata Kumar emphasized India's firm stance against cross-border terrorism, highlighting its global impact. She reiterated that India, as a victim, is determined to rally international support to combat this shared threat.
In Latvia, they are here especially for a very specific objective to stress our position on terrorism, of zero tolerance for terrorism and our continuous fight against terrorism. India and Latvia share very strong and friendly relations. Our delegation is going to come and speak about mobilizing the global alliance for the fight against terrorism.
And the delegation also includes MPs Rajiv Rai, Mia Altaf Ahmed, Brijesh Chauta, Prem Chand Gupta, Ashok Kumar Mittal and former envoys Manjeev S. Puri and Javed Ashraf as part of a diplomatic outreach to highlight India's stance on terrorism. All right, let's now know more about the visit from our correspondent Dibyendu Mondal.
The all-party delegation led by DMK MP Kanimoi have reached Latvia last evening, in fact late last night, and today in Latvia there is a tight schedule for this parliamentary delegation that has come after touring 3 nations, Moscow, Slovenia, Greece and now Latvia. One message that all the parliamentary delegations that are touring different parts of the world carries one simple message, that is Pakistan, to expose Pakistan's terror camps and as well as the terrorist hideouts in Pakistan. The message is loud and clear from all the parliamentary delegation that are touring different nations across different parts of the world. But this particular delegation has a tight schedule packed here in Riga, which is the capital of Latvia. Throughout the day, the delegation would be meeting with parliamentarians, with members in the Foreign Office here in Latvia. This country would, of course, play a very important role, also given the fact that they are a member of the European Union. European Union has an important role to play when it comes to stopping global terrorism and also, when it comes to having an important say in the world politics. So therefore, this delegation meeting important people, both bureaucrats, politicians, as well as intellectuals and academia here in Latvia will go a long way to expose Pakistan and Pakistan-sponsored terrorism. Remember, Pakistan has been causing this proxy war in India and bleeding India for many, many decades. All the countries have condemned terrorism, have condemned that terror has no place in this world. And of course, this delegation's message is being heard loud and clear. All have condemned terrorism and have supported India. And therefore, the message from India is loud and clear. So is the message from the world and from the globe that terrorism has no place in this world.
And the all-party delegation led by BJP MP Baijan Panda, which is visiting several countries as part of the government of India's big diplomatic outreach in the wake of Operation Sindoor, visited Tiranga, a UNESCO World Heritage Site and mud town known for its traditional mud brick architecture. The delegation includes BJP MP Nishikant Dubey, BJP MP Phang Non Konyak, BJP MP Rekha Sharma, AIMIM MP Asaduddin Owaisi, Satnam Singh Sandhu, Ghulam Nabi Azad and Ambassador Harsh Shringla. And India's anti-terror message has received strong support from Indonesian officials, interfaith bodies and the community at large. Our correspondent Chandni Vasandani gets us this report from Jakarta.
The Indian parliamentary delegation in Jakarta are assured of full support and aligned vision from Indonesian counterparts and foreign dignitaries. On Thursday, after meeting with think tanks, academia and ambassadors from friendly countries, delegation leader MP Sanjay Kumar Jha said he has received positive response and feels very encouraged that India's anti-terror message is well received.
Economy in the world. So it all happened because India is in the path of development. So largely we are successful in putting our point of view and we getting their support also.
Mr. Jha said that Indonesia is an important stop in his tour, given the country's prominence in several global platforms, such as the Organization of Islamic Cooperation or the OIC.
In all five, this is the most important visit because the largest Muslim population lives here and what they try to do in Pahalgaon. So that way, putting our view, they listened to us, they had a question and our entire team has responded to that. I think it's a quite successful and very important meeting.
The all-party delegation also met with leaders of the National Mandate Party, which is part of the ruling coalition. Party leaders said that they will relay the peace message from the Indian delegation to the Indonesian parliament. They also committed to express India's anti-terrorism stance in international forums.
I will ensure that our members of Commission 1 will convey this message, the results of the meeting, to the Foreign Ministry of Indonesia so that the Foreign Minister is fully briefed and can make the appropriate stance in international forums going forward, especially on the OIC conference going forward.
This visit shows a strong commitment between India and Indonesia to counter terrorism and promote peace on the global stage. The Indian delegation is making sure their important message will translate into concrete action. This alignment promises a stronger, unified front against extremism, creating greater security and stability for the region.
And in a touching and proud moment for Indian diaspora, the Indian community in Paris came together to organize a Tiranga Yatra, a march carrying the Indian national flag. This special event was held to show love and respect for the brave men and women of the Indian Armed Forces This was the way to come together and say thank you to the Indian Army, Navy and Air Force to remind the world of the unwavering spirit of Jai Hind. The Yatra honored the sacrifices made by our soldiers who stay far from their families, often in difficult and dangerous conditions, to protect the country and keep us safe. This event in Paris reminded everyone that no matter where we live, we remain deeply connected to our roots, our culture, and the people who protect our nation.
I am here to celebrate the victory of our armed forces against our neighbor country who creates the terrorist attack quite frequently in India. So we are here to support our armed forces, our government and our country. On behalf of our community, I am here to protest against the terrorism and support our country and armed forces.
To thank Indian Army, to thank Indian leaders that they gave us this opportunity actually to celebrate that victory. Whatever we had in Pahalgam, that was unfortunate. So my message is to my Indian government is to that we are not with you physically there, but we are emotionally and we are very connected to our country, and we are proud to be Indian, and we all are together against terrorism.
And Union Home Minister Amit Shah is in Jammu on a two-day visit where he will meet the civilians affected by Pakistan's shelling at Poonch Dak Bungalow and the BSF soldiers at their unit headquarters today. This is Amit Shah's first visit to the Union territory post-Operation Sindoor. He will also distribute appointment letters to the next of kin of those killed in this shelling. Home Minister will visit religious places targeted by Pakistani cross-border shelling. 13 civilians, including 4 children, 2 of them siblings, were killed by Pakistan's shelling in Poonch district. In retaliation for Indian armed forces carrying out precision-guided targeted strikes on terror infrastructure, causing significant damage in Pakistan. Earlier, Amit Shah chaired a review meeting on Thursday for the Amarnath pilgrimage and evaluated the security arrangements and preparedness meant for the pilgrims. The meeting was attended by Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha and top officials of Ministry of Home Affairs, the Army, paramilitary forces, police, intelligence agencies and civil administration. Home Minister instructed to maintain the utmost vigilance and ensure the seamless completion of this sacred journey. He said government will leave no stone unturned to facilitate the pilgrims with all necessary facilities. Still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. Donald Trump summons Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, first face-to-face meeting since he took office in January. US tightens Chinese student visas over national security concerns. And Israel agrees to US proposal for ceasefire while Hamas considering. Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Indian women in the armed forces have played a crucial role in Operation Sindoor against Pakistan. And when this operation was on, 2 brave naval officers were contributing in their own way, circumnavigating the earth. And on 29th of May, they returned to a resounding welcome in Goa, creating a new record. Sending a strong message of resurgent Bharat across the globe, Vishal Barrister brings you this special report.
The naval band playing and helicopters in the sky announcing the arrival of Indian naval ship vessel Tariffs in Goa. The Defence Minister of India flagged off Navika Sagar Parikrama 2. The 8-month-long journey was flagged off on October 2 last year. With the completion of Navika Sagar Parikrama 2, India created a record fourth successful mission on an Indian-made vessel. Mission accomplished, announced Lieutenant Commander Dilna K.
Yes, we made it. And today, we stand here, alive and strong, together. We flew our national flag and Indian Navy's flag at every sea and land across the earth.
Lieutenant Commander Dilna celebrated her wedding anniversary at Point Nemo, the remotest place at sea. She was ably supported in this journey by Lieutenant Commander Rupa A. The brave hearts of Tarini during their mission also participated in the parliamentary proceedings in different countries and also received a warm welcome by the Indian diaspora.
This is not about Rupa and Dilna. This is beyond us, beyond individuals. This is an Indian dream which we were breathing and living.
In his welcome speech, the Defence Minister highlighted the role of women power in the Indian Armed Forces and how both young naval officers have made India proud.
ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के दौरान भारतीय सेनाओं के हर अंग में महिलाओं ने एक्टिव और इफेक्टिव पार्टिसिपेशन किया है। बहुत कम लोगों को इस बात की जानकारी है कि ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के दौरान एयरफोर्स ने पाकिस्तान और पीओके में जो टेररिज्म के खिलाफ प्रभावी कार्रवाई की है, उसको अंजाम देने में हमारी विमेन पायलट्स और अन्य महिला सैनिकों की एक महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका रही है।
The Chief of Naval Staff, Admiral Dinesh K. Tripathi, announced that this mission has shown the world what Indian women and Indian Navy are capable of.
After 8 months of gruesome journey in the sea, these two proud women and also brave Lieutenant Commander Rupa and Lieutenant Commander Dilna are back, and they have covered 50,000 kilometers, which is equal to 25,000 nautical miles. As you can see, the smile on their faces tell it all. Quite a record. With cameraman Anil in Goa, this is Vishal Baristo for DD India.
And Defence Minister Rajnath Singh to meet the Indian Navy personnel on board INS Vikrant in Goa. He would be accompanied by the Chief of Naval Staff and other senior officers during the visit. Defence Minister's interaction with the INS Vikrant's crew comes on the heels of heightened tensions with Pakistan after India retaliated to Pahalgam attack, which took place on 22nd April, where 26 innocent people were killed by the terrorists. Now, the European Union and India announced joint naval exercises in the Indian Ocean. The joint exercise, scheduled for June 1st to 3rd, will involve Indian Navy warships and 2 frigates. The joint exercise will be focused on counter-piracy operations and enhanced communication to strengthen maritime security cooperation. The exercise involves Indian Navy ships and EU naval force frigates, aiming to boost maritime security cooperation. Both parties reaffirmed their commitment to a free, open, inclusive and rules-based maritime order in the Indo-Pacific region. Ambassador of the European Union to India said that the leaders of both sides have said we need to have a substantial free trade agreement agreed by the end of the year, and both sides are working hard to get there. And continuing his power-packed schedule, Prime Minister Modi to begin his day two with inauguration and laying the foundation stone and dedicate to the nation multiple development projects worth over Rs 48,520 crore in Bihar's Karakat. It will boost industrial growth, create job opportunities and provide affordable electricity in the region. In a major boost to the road infrastructure and connectivity in the region, Prime Minister will lay the foundation stone for various road projects, in line with his commitment to improving rail infrastructure across the country. In the next stopover, Prime Minister to lay the foundation stone and inaugurate multiple development projects aimed at boosting the region's infrastructure and connectivity in Uttar Pradesh. He will inaugurate the section of Kanpur Metro Rail project worth over Rs 2,120 crore. Additionally, he will also inaugurate road widening and strengthening work of GT Road. In order to boost power generation capacity in the region, multiple projects will be undertaken. Prime Minister will inaugurate a 660 megawatt Panki thermal power extension project in Kanpur worth over rupees 8,300 crore, enhancing Uttar Pradesh's energy capacity. Prime Minister will also inaugurate rail over bridges in Kanpur. Prime Minister will inaugurate 40 million litres per day tertiary treatment plant at Bhingawan in Kanpur worth over rupees 290 crore. It will enable the reuse of treated sewage water, promoting water conservation and sustainable resource management in the region. In a major boost to the road infrastructure in the region, Prime Minister will lay the foundation stone for widening and strengthening of multiple roads in Kanpur. Prime Minister will also distribute certificates and checks to the beneficiaries of PM Ayushman Vay Vandana Yojana, National Livelihood Mission and PM Surya Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana. Now, US President Donald Trump on Thursday received temporary approval to continue collecting tariffs under emergency powers by a federal appeals court on Thursday. The United States Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit in Washington said it was pausing the lower court's ruling to consider the government's appeal and ordered plaintiffs in the cases to respond by June 5 and the administration by June 9. This comes a day after 3 judges ruled Trump overstepped his authority in imposing global tariffs and gave the White House 10 days to halt the import taxes. White House advisor Peter Navarro said Trump administration is ready to take its appeal to the Supreme Court. Navarro said that US tariffs would remain in place for now and that the administration is still in talks with other countries to continue trade negotiations.
The tariffs remain in place. The court told us, they didn't all but tell us, they told us, go do it another way. So you can assume that even if we lose, we will do it another way. And I can assure the American people that the Trump tariff agenda is alive, well, healthy, and will be implemented to protect you, to save your jobs and your factories, and to stop shipping foreign wealth, our wealth into foreign hands.
US President Donald Trump called Federal Reserve Chair to the White House on Thursday for the first face-to-face meeting since he took office in January. Trump told Jerome Powell he was making a mistake by not lowering interest rates. Both the White House and Fed confirmed the two met at the president's invitation, renewing a fractious relationship in which Trump has repeatedly berated Powell for not cutting rates as the president desires. The Fed said in a statement after the meeting that Chair Powell did not discuss his expectations for monetary policy. He told Trump that he and his colleagues at the Fed will set monetary policy as required by law to support maximum employment and stable prices. It was Powell's first presidential visit in 3 years. The last one was with Joe Biden and Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen at the White House. The Trump administration has given Harvard University 30 days to challenge the revocation of the ability to enroll international students. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security sent Harvard a notice of intent on Wednesday to withdraw the school certification under the Federal Student and Exchange Visitor Program, which allows Harvard to enroll non-U.S. students. Harvard has said losing that right would affect about 1/4 of its student body and devastate the school. It has denied Trump administration charges of alleged bias against conservatives and coordinating with the Chinese Communist Party. Trump told reporters in the Oval Office on Wednesday that Harvard University should have a 15% cap on the number of non-U.S. students it admits. The United States is cracking down on Chinese student visas amid growing concerns over national security. U.S. State Department spokesperson Tammy Bruce declared on Thursday that the U.S. will not tolerate the Chinese Communist Party exploiting American universities or stealing U.S. research and intellectual property. At a State Department briefing, Bruce withheld exact numbers but confirmed that visas would be aggressively revoked for those deemed threats. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio unveiled the sweeping new policy targeting students linked to the CCP or studying in sensitive fields. This sweeping measure follows a Trump administration directive to halt new student and exchange visa appointments at U.S. missions globally.
The United States, I further can say here, will not tolerate the CCP's exploitation of U.S. universities or theft of U.S. research, intellectual property, or technologies to grow its military power, conduct intelligence collection, or repress voices of opposition. The Trump administration is focused on protecting our nation and our citizens by upholding our national security and public safety through our visa process, obviously very openly and transparently applied by Secretary Marco Rubio.
And moving on to West Asia, Israel has agreed to a US ceasefire proposal for Gaza, but Hamas said it was reviewing it as a US-backed system for distributing food aid in the shattered enclave expanded. As per Israeli media, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu told the families of hostages held in Gaza that Israel had accepted a deal presented by US. President Donald Trump's Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff, Netanyahu's office did not confirm the reports, but White House spokeswoman Caroline Leavitt told reporters in Washington that Israel had signed off on the proposal. The proposal in its initial phase would include a 60-day ceasefire and humanitarian aid flowing through UN-run operations. Israel has insisted that Hamas disarm completely and be dismantled as a military and governing force, and that all 58 hostages still held in Gaza must be returned before it will agree to end the conflict. Hamas has rejected the demand to give up its weapons and says Israel must pull its troops out of Gaza and commit to ending the conflict. Still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. World leaders set for high-stakes NATO summit in The Hague amid rising global tensions. Thousands of doctors march in Buenos Aires demanding better wages as Malay government faces heat over health budget cuts. And red and orange alert in several places will get you weather updates across the globe. Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Recap of our top stories. India's global outreach on Operation Sindoor continues. All party delegations engaged with key figures in multiple nations, highlighting India's continued fight against terrorism. Home Minister Amit Shah visiting Jammu and Kashmir for the first time since Operation Sindoor to meet BSF personnel. Day after being struck down, US appeals court allows Trump tariffs to temporarily stay in place for now. Ukrainian President Zelensky accuses Russia for engaging in yet another deception by failing to hand over its peace settlement proposal ahead of direct talks next week, while US proposes Moscow to take the deal. Canadian wildfire emergency spreads to second province. State of emergency declared. Mass evacuation underway. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Thursday that Russia was engaging in yet another deception by failing to hand over its peace settlement proposal ahead of a potential meeting between Moscow and Kiev. Zelensky, in his nightly video address, said the so-called memorandum they promised and seemingly prepared for more than a week has still not been seen by anyone. As Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov earlier this week said that Moscow had drafted a memorandum outlining a settlement position in the three-year-old conflict in Ukraine.
Все вони роблять, щоб зустрічі були пустими. Це ще одна причина, щоб були достатні санкції, достатній тиск на Росію.
Meanwhile, Kremlin said on Thursday it was still waiting for a response from Ukraine on Russia's proposal to hold the next round of peace talks in Istanbul on June 2nd to begin discussions on draft memorandums for a peace accord. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said that so far Moscow has not received a reply from Kiev. Now, White House said on Thursday U.S. President Donald Trump expressed hope that the upcoming peace talks between Ukraine and Russia will help advance his efforts to facilitate a peace agreement. In response to a question about Trump's recent comments, White House spokesperson Caroline Leavitt said that the U.S. expects the Istanbul talks to go forward. Earlier this month, Putin spurned a challenge to meet face-to-face with Volodymyr Zelensky in Turkey.
Well, it is my understanding and it is our hope that Russia and Ukraine will engage in direct talks and negotiations next week in Istanbul. And we believe that meeting is going to take place. And that is a meeting the president encouraged and urged for these two sides to come together and negotiate directly. And the president has been clear from the very beginning of this conflict that he wants to see this conflict solved on the negotiating table, not on the battlefield. And he's told that to both leaders, again, both publicly and privately. So hopefully next week it will move the ball forward in this. We will let you know if the president plans to send a representative. I'm not tracking that.
And the United States called on Russia at the United Nations Security Council on Thursday to accept a comprehensive ceasefire proposal in Ukraine, calling it Russia's best possible outcome. Speaking at the Security Council, acting Deputy U.S. Ambassador John Kelly said if Russia makes the wrong decision to continue this catastrophic war, the United States will have to consider stepping back from our negotiation efforts to end this conflict. However, he cautioned that if Russia's aggression continues, the U.S. may be compelled to withdraw from peace talks and implement stricter actions.
If Russia makes the wrong decision to continue this catastrophic war, the United States will have to consider stepping back from our negotiation efforts to end this conflict. To be clear, in doing so, we would not be abandoning our principles or our friends. Rather, we would be recognizing Russia's refusal to work with us toward a desirable outcome. As President Trump has made clear, we want to work with Russia, including on this peace initiative and an economic package. There is no military solution to this conflict. The deal on offer now is Russia's best possible outcome. President Putin should take the deal. We will call on both Russia and Ukraine to make the difficult, historic decision to pursue peace. The responsibility of ending this war ultimately lies with them. If one side proves unable or unwilling to do so, it will own the consequences.
And world leaders are gearing for a crucial NATO summit in The Hague. With global security challenges mounting, this meeting will focus on strengthening alliances, boosting defense strategies and addressing emerging threats. As tensions rise in various regions, NATO's role in maintaining stability has never been more critical. What can we expect from this upcoming high-stakes summit? Mark Limburg reports from The Hague.
Here in The Hague at the World Forum, the stage is set for what promises to be one of the most crucial NATO summits in recent years. In June, world leaders, defense ministers and top military officials will gather here to discuss pressing security issues, from strengthening collective defense to NATO's role in an increasingly volatile world. With tensions in Eastern Europe, rising concerns over maritime security and an increasing focus on cyber threats, this summit will shape the alliance strategy for years to come. Key players include NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, US President Donald Trump and European leaders Starmer, Macron and EU President von der Leyen, who are expected to push for stronger transatlantic cooperation. The presence of Indo-Pacific partners is also a major talking point, as NATO looks beyond its traditional borders to address global security challenges. And while the discussions inside will be intense, outside The Hague will come to a standstill. The area around the World Forum will be locked down with road closures, heightened security and restricted access stretching across parts of the city. Dutch authorities will deploy additional police and military personnel to ensure the safety of the delegates, which will make this one of the most secure zones in the Netherlands. With so much at stake, all eyes are on The Hague as NATO leaders define the future of global security. Reporting from the site of the upcoming NATO summit in The Hague, the Netherlands, this is Mark Limburg for DD India.
Now, a 53-year-old British man identified by police as Paul Doyle was formally charged on Thursday with 7 offences, including dangerous driving and causing grievous bodily harm with intent. The charges stem from an incident on Monday when a car drove into a crowd of Liverpool soccer fans during a victory parade in the city centre. Authorities say the area was packed with supporters celebrating the team's success. Doyle was arrested the same day. Police have emphasized that the incident appears to be isolated and have ruled out terrorism as a motive. In Argentina's Buenos Aires, resident doctors protested on Thursday to demand better wages and working conditions. Thousands of protesters walked through the city headed towards the health ministry, where police guarded the nearby streets. In a press conference, presidential spokesperson Manuel Adorni said Garrahan Hospital was not underfunded. Instead, he said the money was used to inflate the staff numbers. These are the latest in a series of protests led by medical workers demanding better conditions after budget cuts that began last year under the government of President Javier Milei. Now, hundreds of teachers from the National Coordinator of Education Workers blocked Reforma Avenue, one of Mexico City's main thoroughfares, as part of ongoing protests demanding improvements to their working conditions and pension system. The teachers are demanding the repeal of a 2007 law that worsened their retirement conditions by increasing the legal retirement age from 58 to 65 for men and from 58 to 62 for women. Protesters are also demanding a return to a solidarity-based pension system. Under the 2007 law, this model was revised to allow financial institutions to administer pension funds. The CNTE, one of Mexico's most powerful teachers' unions, has maintained protests in the capital since May 15 as part of a national strike that has resulted in school closures affecting approximately 1.2 million children. South Koreans lined up in record numbers to pick their president, joining lengthy queues to vote early in a poll triggered by the ex-leader's disastrous martial law declaration. The country is battling to draw a line under months of political turmoil sparked by Yoon Suk-yeol's suspension of civilian rule, for which he was impeached and removed from office. All major polls have placed Liberal Lee Jae-myung as the clear frontrunner in the presidential race, with a recent Gallup survey showing 49% of respondents viewed him as the best candidate. While election day is set for June 3rd, those who want to vote early are allowed to do so on Thursday and Friday. A record 24.5% of 44.4 million registered voters had cast their ballot by 200 GMT. All right, some weather updates now. The deep depression has weakened into a depression over Bengal in India and Bangladesh. It is very likely to move nearly northeastwards and weaken into a well-marked low pressure area during the next 24 hours. Though the southwest monsoon has further advanced in northeast, causing exceptionally heavy rainfall in some of the states. Heavy rain slashed many parts of northeast, although temperatures remained humid. And the Indian Weather Department has issued red alerts for southern state of Kerala, on northeastern states of Assam, Meghalaya, Nagaland, Mizoram and Tripura, while orange alert was issued for Delhi. The Weather Department has forecast widespread thunderstorms, gusty winds and heavy rainfall across various parts of India over the next 4 to 5 days as the southwest monsoon continues its advance. Driven by two upper air cyclonic circulations, one over West Rajasthan and another over northern central Uttar Pradesh. In response to the heavy rainfall warning, district administrations across Kerala have declared a holiday for all educational institutions on May 30th. Meghalaya may have isolated exceptionally heavy rainfall today, though none of the rivers are flowing above danger level in Assam yet. Residents are advised to follow local advisories, stay indoors during thunderstorms and take precautions against both weather hazards and health risks linked to the monsoon. And the western Canadian province of Saskatchewan declared a wildfire state of emergency as wildfires erupt across the region, Premier Scott Moore announced on Thursday. Over 200 wildfires have already scorched the province this spring, with satellite images capturing thick smoke plumes rising from the land. The crisis has intensified. 17 fires remain active and evacuations are underway in at least 15 communities. Moore warned of deteriorating weather conditions, said that there is no rain in the forecast and need that rainfall sooner than later. As conditions deteriorate, Saskatchewan is joining forces with neighbouring Manitoba to combat the growing threat. Manitoba too declared a state of emergency on Wednesday, ordering thousands to evacuate from its northern and eastern regions. Owing to the devastating wildfires that have gripped California, one of the home creation company named KB Homes has come up with a groundbreaking step by creating Dixon Trail. Dixon Trail is a neighborhood built to withstand nature's worst, partnering with the Insurance Institute for Business and Home Safety. They have gone beyond state requirements to develop fire-resistant homes designed to protect against embers, radiant heat and direct flames. With non-combustible siding and the roofs which resist the flames, Dixon Trail is more than a housing project. For now, it appears as a promising blueprint for the future. All right, still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. Argentine court declares a mistrial in the high-profile case involving 7 health professionals accused of negligence in the death of football legend Diego Maradona. RCB through to their 4th IPL final in 18 years after battering Punjab Kings in Qualifier 1. An immersive amplified exhibit in New York aims to recreate live rock concert experience.
Welcome to Jaipur.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Sports updates now. We'll start with Indian Premier League. Royal Challengers Bengaluru thrashed Punjab Kings by 8 wickets in Qualifier 1 and stormed into the finals after delivering their most ruthless performance so far in the ongoing season. RCB skipper Rajat Patidar won the toss and opted to bowl. RCB got a strong start as Yash Dayal struck in the opening over to remove opener Priyancharya. Punjab Kings collapsed for 101 in 14.1 overs. Chasing 102, RCB cruised to 106 for 2 in 10 overs with Phil Salt smashing unbeaten 56 of 27 deliveries. Punjab will now face the winner of eliminator between Mumbai Indians and Gujarat Titans. Now, Gujarat Titans and Mumbai Indians are all set to lock horns in a winner-takes-all in the eliminator on Friday. The Gujarat Titans wrapped up the season in 3rd place, boasting 9 wins out of 14 matches. Unfortunately, they come into this match after a loss to Chennai Super Kings and will be missing Butler, who is out for this game. Kushal Mendes is stepping in to fill that gap. On the other hand, Mumbai Indians finished 4th in the standings. Hardik Pandya-led MI will be without wicket-keeper batter Ryan Rickelton and all-rounder Will Jacks. Rickelton complemented Rohit Sharma nicely at the top of the order, while Jacks lent balance to the side with his hard-hitting ability and handy off breaks. The winner will play Punjab Kings in Qualifier 2, while the loser will be eliminated. All right, we'll go across to DD India's Narayan Singh for more Narayan, talking about yesterday's game first, nobody expected it to be that one-sided between Punjab and RCB. What do you think went wrong for Punjab? Was it just the pitch?
Abhishek, if you talk about we talk about the big matches, always the temperament comes into play, and we know that pressure plays a big role at the crucial moment. And there's a big difference between the league games and playoff or a semi-final or a knockout game, because the pressure is of a different kind. Because in the league stage, you always have a second time you can do better, but here only a one chance. But in the IPL, the format is like that. The top two teams, the loser gets one more chance. So that's the case. So in the talking about the Punjab Kings, they need to, we can say that mentally at that level to be there in the IPL. We know that throughout the tournament, they played one of the best cricket and they topped the league. And we know that they have the potential and the power. But when the stage like this comes now, definitely it's very difficult. And talking about the RCB team, they have done differently this time around. In the past, we saw they are heavily dependent on the players like Virat Kohli. In the past, we saw they were heavily dependent on AB de Villiers and their other players. But this time around, we saw that they have multiple players who are doing heavy lifting for them. Jitesh Sharma, we saw that. Romero Shepherd, we saw that. Phil Salt regularly scoring for the team, and Virat Kohli is always there. So all in all, we can say they're looking a more balanced team from the previous edition, and their bowling is the most balanced this time around. And also we can say that fortune favors the Braves. And this time there was a news that their frontline bowler, Josh Hazlewood, will not be available. But finally, we know that when the intention was like that, he was also got fit at the right time.
Yes.
And he took yesterday 3 wickets. So all in all, we know that everything going right for the RCB. And this time around, there is a feeling that it's the 18th season and Virat Kohli. Earlier also, we were discussing this fact that the jersey number is 18. And so we are hoping that this time around, it's Virat Kohli's IPL.
Absolutely, RCB. They have made it to the finals after a long time. And talking about today's game, Narayan, Mumbai Indians versus Gujarat Titans, they'll be against each other. It's a knockout game. Whoever wins will take on Punjab in qualifier 2, but the loser will be eliminated.
Definitely, as you mentioned, there's a format of the IPL. We know that 2 qualifiers, 1 eliminator, and the loser of the first qualifier plays with the winner of the eliminator. So going to be a fantastic match, and we know that Mumbai side is always a dangerous team. When the way they started the campaign, losing their first out of first 5 matches, 4 matches, then winning back-to-back 6 matches. This thing only Mumbai Indians can do. In the past also we saw that always starting on a slow note and then just keeping with the tournament pace and winning the matches at the right moment. So I think Mumbai is the most dangerous side of this tournament. But there is we know that in IPL what happens, the team finishing top 2, they are used to lift the trophy. In the past we saw that the team finishing at the top, in the top 2, winning the trophy. Only in 2010, when Chennai Super King finished 3rd, they won. And in 2016, when Sunrisers Hyderabad finished 3rd, they won the trophy. And one more time it happened. But always we saw, but Mumbai Indian is a kind of team now. They have the potential, they have the player balance. And Jasprit Bumrah is with them. Their players, Real Rickelton is not with them, but they have got few good replacement with them. So Mumbai Indians, I think, only is the team who can pose a threat to Royal Challengers Bangalore here.
Absolutely. It will be an interesting game. The match will start at 7:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time at New Chandigarh in Mullanpur. We'll leave it at that. Thank you, Narayan, for your inputs. An Argentine court on Thursday declared a mistrial in the high-profile case involving 7 health professionals accused of negligence in the death of football legend Diego Maradona. The trial, which has captivated Argentina and the global football community for over 2 months, now faces a complete reset following a controversial judicial development. Diego Maradona, who famously led Argentina to World Cup glory in 1986, passed away in 2020 at the age of 60. His death occurred just days after undergoing surgery to remove a subdural hematoma. The medical team responsible for Maradona's care has since been under scrutiny, accused of failing to provide adequate treatment during his final days. The date for the new trial was not initially announced, and new judges were not nominated. Now, an immersive audiovisual venue in New York is aiming to give rock and roll the same transformative treatment that has previously been applied to figures like Vincent van Gogh. Staged at Art Course in Manhattan's Chelsea neighborhood and presented by Rolling Stone magazine, Amplified is a 50-minute experience featuring still photography and vintage footage set to iconic rock tunes. Alright, that's all we have in this edition of DD India News Hour, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. From all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.